America is not a safe place to work. And obviously, those of us living here understand that right now, what with deregulations and the threat of the National Guard or perhaps a different division of the military showing up to police you. No. This statement is actually coming from the South Korean workers that were rounded up at gunpoint last month on September 4th at that Hyundai plant in the state of Georgia. These workers, who again were rounded up at gunpoint while working, which Donald Trump says he went out of his way to secure these investments into the United States to bring these people into work, rounded up at gunpoint, detained in conditions that they claimed were human rights abuses for a week before they were sent back home. Those are the people telling other South Koreans, telling Americans, and telling the rest of the world that America is not a safe place to work. And that, of course, is going to be very bad for the U.S. economy. More on this in just a second, but first, a word from today's video sponsor. By now, you know Trump's big, beautiful bill has passed, but almost no one's reporting how ICE will get nearly $40 billion of our tax money each year, making it the most heavily funded law enforcement agency in U.S. history. That's more money than most nations spend on their entire military. So much of our media is either missing the worst of this bill or twisting the language so you think it's all in your best interest. But we've seen the ICE raids ramping up. Now Trump's openly threatening to deport U.S. citizens. This should be the biggest story in America, yet it's buried. Making ground news essential right now is what all of this is doing. They're the only tool I've found exposing these blind spots in the media. By gathering the world's news in one place, organizing it by story, then analyzing just how far-right and radical each unbiased source actually is, you get way more context than you ever would anywhere else. If we're being honest, we've seen Trump's power grabs throughout history. They said never again, and that means never again everywhere. And right now, it's happening here. So if you want to stay ahead on immigration, the economy, or simply finding the stories missing from your news feeds, Ground News has you covered. Their app and website is a smarter, more reliable way to stay informed at a time when MAGA is banking on us to stay distracted. So I've partnered with them to get you 40% off the same Vantage plan that I have been using. That comes out to $5 a month for unlimited access to everything I've mentioned and so much more. Just go to ground.news/Farron or scan the QR code to subscribe. With at least another 4 years of this, we can't afford to miss these details. In a lengthy piece for the New York Times recently, they actually spoke to some of these workers that were at that Hyundai plant in Georgia. And they talked about, as I've said, being rounded up at gunpoint. ICE agents barged in, Customs and Border Patrol, guns drawn, and said, "Get out, get outside right now." That's according to them. That's what they said. And these people were here, most of them, completely legally. They were doing a job. They were contributing to the United States economy. Part of a job that, again, as Trump says, like he's worked out these deals for South Korea to invest hundreds of billions of dollars. And now that those hundreds of billions, which probably weren't going to materialize to begin with, he's a little overblown, may not materialize at all. South Korean officials following the raid even admitted, like, hey, this is probably going to make it more difficult for any companies in our country to even want to go to the United States. And now that these workers are speaking out to the New York Times, warning workers from any country, this place isn't safe because of Trump and his people, do you really think that Europe is going to invest $600 billion in the U.S.? No. Do you think Argentina is? Do you think Brazil is? Do you think Canada wants to after Donald Trump continues to threaten to annex them? Do you think Denmark and Greenland are going to do that? Do you think any other Asian countries are willing to do this after watching what happens to these workers? And for the record, the reason South Korea says we had to bring in our own workers is because nobody in the US knows how to do this, right? This is our proprietary intellectual property. So we're going to do it. And in terms of all the other things that Americans do know how to do, there simply weren't people willing to do it. So we had to bring in our people. And the problem, as South Korea explained, this administration didn't give us enough visas. So we were kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. And yeah, we had to bring in some people that weren't necessarily documented. And with the rest of the people that were documented, because of the limited number of visas, we had to rotate them out. So every few months, we had to send the experienced ones back, bring over a bunch of rookies, get them trained, so the project takes longer than it should. And that, of course, is also a warning to the rest of the world. Sure, Donald Trump says he wants you to come. Sure, he says he wants your money and your investments in your companies, but he won't do what's necessary to allow your business to succeed. And even if you start to succeed, you never know when ICE is going to come busting through your front door. If I were a company operating outside of the U.S., considering coming to the U.S., it'd be off the table 100% while this guy's in office. And honestly, that's what should happen. I'm not saying I want the U.S. to fail. I definitely do not. I want us to succeed. Even if Trump is president, I would love to see the economy boom. I would love to see everybody making more money and getting healthcare and getting the things they need and a cleaner environment. If it happens under a Republican, good. Like, oh no, we have a better life. I'm not ever going to wish for worse. But there is absolutely no incentive for these foreign businesses to come over to this country based on the way this administration is treating them. They're not rolling out the red carpet. We only do that for Vladimir Putin. For the rest of you, we'll beg you to come over, and the second you do, we're going to arrest all your workers at gunpoint. That is the message, whether they intended it to be or not, that this administration has sent to every business around the globe. And that is going to hurt the U.S. economy in ways that Trump can't even fathom. Thanks for watching, everyone. You know, we're inching closer and closer to 1 million subscribers, and we're aiming to hit that goal before the year closes. So if you aren't subscribed to the channel, please do so, and don't forget to like, comment, and share. Thanks for joining us as we head towards this huge milestone.